Hi, I'm John and welcome back to my Lair of Action Figures. Today is going to be a review of another G.I. Joe Classified Series figures. I wanted to go with this guy due to the fact of his file card says he is a guitarist, and what better than having an extra guitarist coming after the Cold Slither review. So, without further ado, let's have a look at our friend Heavy Duty from the G.I. Joe Classified series. So, of course, you have my mint in box figure who's over here. Again, these are the boxes that I really like due to the fact that we have a blister and that we can see everything or most of the stuff that we get with the figure. So, yeah, you might not see everything, but as you can see, he does wear his name very well. So, of course, we're going to have a look a bit on the sideways. The box, a bit of a shouting head over here. Here we have another back of the box where we have certain kind of spoilers, if we would like to say, because we have some ninjas coming after him. Well, I don't really know if he's going to outrun those ninjas, but they're pretty heavily equipped. So I guess they're not going to run very fast, but he is definitely not going to move in anywhere fast either due to the fact of all his gear. So of course you see him geared up over here, and over here we're going to give a little turn over here so we can have a look at these things who haven't been updated. I know that I have a picture of these logos and what does it mean, but sadly they haven't done let's say mise a jour of these, so I have no clue if all of these are going to be on. But like I said, I'm going to post it on my Facebook page so you can check it out. So as you can see, here is number 150 in the G.I. Joe Classified series. What we need to know about this figure: so this is a regular figure that came out, so if you were in North America you will be able to purchase it. It suggests retail price is $34.99, and if you are in Europe and you want to get him from Hasbro Pulse, you're going to be paying him €42.99. Of course, this is a 2025 figure. So now that we have talked a bit about the classified figure, let's jump into the history of this figure. So of course, here is my mint in box Real American Hero figure. As we can see over here, this figure came out in 1991, and as you can see, he does come with a lot of stuff, and he is pretty heavily equipped. And of course, the 1991 figures started having a lot of accessories that were really firing. Afterwards, was it my cup of tea? Definitely not. So you have all the machinery, so they wanted to do something who looked a bit similar for their 25th anniversary, but as you can see, there's a lot of similarities on the way that they did the figure. So I must say that they give him a pretty generous look, and he does look a lot like the figure over here. So we're going to turn around, so if you want to put a pose, be able to read this file card. Over here we have some of the other figures. This was already when G.I. Joe was going a bit downhill from my point of view. Of course, there's one of my favorite figures over here. Big Ben, Red Star was cool. Topside was also not too bad. Lowlight was an interesting idea, but did not match up to the first one. Topside was cool to go with the aircraft carrier. So as you can see, there is some interesting factors about this figure. Also, I remember reading, I think it was in the comic book, that he is kind of related to Roadblock, but I haven't seen this written on any of his file cards that he has. Of course, he got a 25th anniversary version, if we can call it 25th, because that one came out in 2016. Of course, there was some who came out before that time for the Rise of Cobra movie, who was the first J. Joe action movie that came out. I'm not going to call it action, live action movie that came out about the G.I. Joe team, and he was in it. The actor has an unpronounceable name. He was from the UK. I don't think he did much of an appearance. I think you should see him at the beginning of the movie flying around. I don't even think he was in this second movie. So yeah, I'm going to be putting the picture up here so you can see it. So this is the 2016 one. The picture is from yojo.com. Sadly, I couldn't locate the one I have. I know I didn't purchase this box. It was coming towards the end, and when I was living in Canada, I was not able to purchase them due to the fact of living in the French part. But as you can see, he was a double packed, does not have all his heavy gear and artillery with him, but he just came with some regular heavy machine gunner, and that's what he was. Of course, he comes with stiletto, a figure that I did not really find very interesting. And like I said, I don't remember if I purchased him, but I think I purchased only him in loose. So if I find it, I'll be posting some pictures to Facebook. So that's the history of this figure. So let's dive into what we get in the box. So what do we get in the box? Of course, we get our friend Heavy Duty. We do get some headgear over here, the goggles that go for the, well, not the goggles, the visor system, who's a bit the reflective this one, some headphones. We get 2 knives over here. I did build this thing up, or partially build it up, so this is all his armor with 2 Gatling guns, some extra guns over here, and all of this movable parts. We'll be having a closer look at it. I'm going to put it over there. Then afterwards we have a whole lot of other stuff who comes with it. So I popped the 2 rocket launchers who are on the side off. Those are pretty hard to put back in, but you do have these guys over here. And then afterwards I'm just going to pour everything out like this because I don't want to lose it. Easy way to store it so we don't lose it. We do have an extra head over here. We do have the little FX. These were the same, and the missiles are nearly the same that the ones who came with, what's his name, Metalhead, who's also from the same year. And of course, the little rockets, there's 8 of them, 8 FX, and a pair of fists to go with this figure. So let's, without further ado, let's have a closer look at all of this. So I'm not going to start by the figure, but I'm going to start by this over here. As you can see, there's a lot of detail going around. He has some armor plate over here, who has some scratches. I do like the fact that there's some weathering in it, some impacts. Of course, we have the handles that can move over here. There's a lot of stuff moving, so you have to clip it over here. This clips in like this. This goes over like this, and these should pop in over here. Now, like I said, they're very hard to remove, and it becomes pretty hard to move around. Then afterwards, you're going to have 1 ammo belt. So what you have is, when you're a bit worried that there could be one missing, but the ammo belt slides through and goes into the 2 Gatling guns he has above. As you can see, there's some text over here. Man-portable heavy weapon system. We have some detailing around here. I don't understand why for you would have all this kind of little information like a keypad or some other stuff behind, because he will not have access to that at all. Gatling guns are pretty decent. Of course, soft plastic, so if you want to have them bent, you will have to move them back a little bit because they have a tendency of moving out. Then we have some kind of heavy guns over here. By the size of it, could be some 50 cals, but yeah, of course this is something I'll be getting into a bit more afterwards about a certain part of realism. This is the reason why I didn't really care about this one, but this one Hasbro has really outdone themselves. Then afterwards we're going to be looking at these bad boys over here. So this is the quad missile launcher. If you want to recreate the scene from Commando, this is exactly what you need. Or you could also remake the 12-inch Beachhead who came out. Can't remember which one when he came out, but he also came with this squad missile launcher. So yeah, you can recreate all of this. So yeah, and you can also put it into his hand and just have it carried around like this if you want to recreate Commando. As you can see, it is pretty basic, and you have 2 of them to go around. Then afterwards we have the little effects over here. So they're mostly all the same, so I need to show you one. As you can see, this pops in over here. This is a bit of a shame that you don't have some different sizes so that you can pop them in and should have them all firing at a different period of time. So should have to clip this in over here, so we can also have a closer look at those missiles who are over here. So I'm just going to do build one up fully so we can have a look at it. But yeah, like I said, it's a bit of a shame because you should really have these guys going off at a little interval, because if they're all firing at the same time, this is going to put a lot of pressure onto it. So you can see the missiles over here. The idea of it is interesting, but yeah. Oops, there we go. As you can see, some of the detailing over there. So we're going to be putting this down over here. Of course, the effects are going to go over here. Let's have a look. So fist hands is nothing new. The fact that he's an African American, you can reuse them. They might be a bit small for Roadblock, but they could do for Stalker, because I can't remember if he does have any of these with his retro card figure. I bought one, but I decided to buy a second one to take out of the box because of the original 13 G.I. Joes. Anyway, continuing with some more of his gear, we have some knives. The detailing on the knife are pretty nice. The paint job is pretty good also. Afterwards, we're going to go on to the head. As you can see, the head sculpt is pretty decent. And the fact that we're getting him without the cap is an interesting idea. Would have liked to see maybe something with the cap being able to be removed, or to have it sideways. Why not? Or off would be not too bad also. So the headphones are pretty basics, and it's kind of cool to have them. This could do for when there's a helicopter pilot coming out, or even if you want to use them with the Dragonfly and you don't want to put a helmet on the guy. This could be a nice little use of the accessories. And then afterwards we have his targeting system over here. You can see there's a little red dot. This goes around his head, gearing him up afterwards. And here we go into the detail of the figure. So of course we have his hat, and here we have hero head. Okay, shred head. Okay, why not? But you see, this would have been interesting to be able to remove it. Does have a little bit of some accessories, so that's where you put one of the knives. Then he has an ammo pouch, who does not really make sense. Two grenades on the belt. I like the pants. Pants are really looking decent with this kind of pattern camouflage, and I think it does give a bit the vibe of what we get on the original figure from 1991, but with a little touch of modern. This is where you put the second knife, as he has over there. Then we have two bracelets on the hands. Of course, these are movable also, so you can remove them if you wish to not have them on, but basically this is what you're getting. He does not have any tattoos like the original figure did have, where he had some cobra tattoos, like if he shot down the stuff. They put him a huge necklace of a bull that you can see over there, some earrings. I think he did have something like that back in the day. So yeah, it's an interesting figure after all, and let's start gearing him up so we can go on to my final thoughts, and also I will tell you if I believe this is a collectible item or not. So while I'm going to be gearing him up, I'm going to tell you if I believe this figure is going to be a collectible item or not. So due to the fact that it's a general release, I don't really think this is going to be much of a collectible item. The fact that it's been out for a little while, I mean, we're coming up to the end of 2025. I can't remember if there was any sales of these figures, but it didn't look like there was much stuff going on with it. So maybe he is selling not too bad and the people are buying it. But I personally don't think the figure itself is really worth that much. Of course, I understand, because I'm not much of a nostalgic of the ones that came out during that period of time. But yeah, I think that this figure will not have such much as collectible value if you compare it to some of the other figures that are on the market who came out in 2025. But the fact that I haven't seen him going on sale, and I didn't see many people trying to trade it or all of this, and the fact that he is still available mostly in every shop. Hasbro Pulse still has him, so of course this is going to be something that comes into play. Also, will he go out as a memorable figure? Maybe not that much. Maybe if there's a 25th anniversary, I mean, sorry, a retro line figure of this one, that may add a certain value to it. But as you can see, a lot of this gearing up is extremely flimsy, moving it around, trying to clip it in properly. So yeah, this is also something who's a bit of a shame on this figure. And as you can see, if you're trying to put the targeting system in place over here, when you have him all geared up, the fact of doing it before that makes it really hard. And let's say you want to put this over here, it's also going to be pretty hard to be able to do something in this way. So yeah, so you should leave it there. This is what I'm saying, you can pop it in for how do you call it, for the helicopter pilot to assist Wild Bill. And here, this is what I'm saying, clips this in, this really clips in, and afterwards becomes really hard to go and fire it around. So yeah, I don't think this is going to be a collectible or too much of a collectible item. So let's go into the final thoughts and what do I think about this figure while I'm going to give it a spin. So while it's getting a little spin around so that you can admire the figure under his different, all his sides while he is all geared up and ready to go. So what would I give this figure out of 10? Well, I'm going to be giving this figure a 5 out of 10. I do not really like the figure itself. I think that he has become more and more ridiculous. I mean, let's be honest, over here, there's no way that this guy is going to be walking around being able to fire every single gun that he has over there. He's going to be really totally destroyed. I mean, his ears are going to be done with the 2 Gatling guns he has on it. I understand that you wanted to go for something a bit more extravagant on the part of it, but this is overkill from my point of view. It's the figure itself is really a bit disappointing from my point of view, and that's why I'm giving this figure a 5 out of 10. There's also a lot of issues that come with this figure. The fact that he doesn't have a removable cap is something that is a bit of a shame when you can make removable berets and doing all this kind of stuff for other figures. This is something that I really strongly think that they should have thought over. So I'm going to remove this so we can have a better look. But I mean, the extra Gatling gun, there's no way that he can be walking with that. That's going to be so heavy to carry around that it makes really no sense. I would have preferred that they would have gone with something a bit lighter. The fact that I had to put a stand on the figure to make it go around, because otherwise there's no way he's holding up, is also a bit of a shame. The fact that he has no pistol would have made sense. You're giving him grenades because, yeah, he had some grenades, but you put in some extra grenades on his belt over there. But no pistol, no holster for the pistol, 2 knives. Yeah, there's a lot of little issues left and right. The positive, I would say, the general look of the figure does look like this one, and I guess that would be the only positive part. Then you could dismantle and be able to use the little rocket launchers, but you can't even put these into the rocket launcher. They don't hold, they don't stick in place. So yeah, I think this is a big disappointment from my point of view, and this is why I'm giving this figure a 5 out of 10. So that's going to be it for my review of Heavy Duty from the G.I. Joe Classified series. Let me know if you agree with what I've been talking about. Did you get it? Do you like this figure if you did purchase him, or did you just purchase him for your collection and you're a completist and you want to get all of the figures, or is he one of your favorites as growing up as a kid? Let me know in the comment section. Let's start a conversation around it. Also, please remember to subscribe to the channel. You can also go and check out my Facebook page, Instagram page, to go and have a look at some of the pictures that I've done. I do talk about some of the news, some of the other stuff also on the Facebook page, and I put up some cool pictures. I have put some extra pictures of the band that I have done also, so go and check it out. It's really cool, and you might see a lot of stuff, and then you won't miss out on anything. Until then, I hope you have a fantastic day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!